Hey Credit Warriors, welcome to the show. Now in the past we have done a video called 10 things you should never pay for with a credit card. So this time we are going to do the opposite, and this is 10 things that you should always pay for with a credit card. And there are some very good reasons for these things. So I've written down a list. Here are the 10 things. Let's get started. Number 1, gas. Now you might think that this is a little bit counterintuitive because gas stations normally charge a little bit of a premium if you're gonna pay with a credit card. So they advertise, here in the US at least, they advertise a cheaper price for cash versus credit. But let me ask you, are you the kind of person who's actually gonna go to an ATM, get cash, take it to the gas station and pay with cash? Personally, I never do that, okay? I never pay with cash really for anything. It's so inconvenient for me, I don't bother. So there's the first thing. I'm gonna pay with some kind of card, all right? Then you've got the choice between a debit card and a credit card, right? Now, debit cards, in theory, should be treated as cash, okay? And gas stations are supposed to, unless they post a sign saying that debit cards are treated as credit, all right? However, the reality is a lot of them don't. A lot of them just treat debit cards as credit cards and run them through as credit, and you get the credit price, okay? So that's the issue. Do you really want to be going to gas stations, going into the store and saying, hey, I'm using a debit card, make sure I get the cash price, all right? So that's, that's another issue with debit cards, all right? Now, in addition to that, when you get gas at a gas station, they put a pre-authorization on your card. So if you do that with a debit card, you may have $100 of your own money locked up for a few days as part of that pre-authorization versus paying with a credit card where that money, yeah, sure, there's money locked up, but it's not your money anyway, it's just part of your credit limit. Now, the alternative is you could go in and prepay with a debit card in the store, but then you can't pay at the pump and you waste a few minutes of your time, okay? It's not really worth it. So now you're paying at the pump with a debit card. Hopefully it's gonna go through with cash, but maybe not. Could go through as credit and you get the higher price. Let's look at the issue of liability protection, because on a debit card, yeah, sure, you do have some liability protection. Like if there's a fraudulent charge on your card and you discover it and you report it within 2 days, your liability is only $50 and the bank pays for anything above that. If you discover it after 2 days, your liability goes up to $500, okay? And after 60 days, you're liable basically for whatever. So, those are the federal regulations. Obviously, some debit cards might offer a better deal, but that's generally what it is with a debit card. Whereas with a credit card, your liability is zero for anything. No liability. And putting a credit card skimmer in a gas pump is quite a common credit card scam, okay? They put an additional thing on the pump that reads your credit card or your debit card as it goes in. So this is actually a very common scam that you do want to be protected against. So let's now look at credit cards. Credit cards offer rewards for gas spending. Now, typically these rewards are gonna be up to about 5%, okay? Chase Freedom, when it does quarterly categories with gas, you get 5%. I think the Sam's Club credit card, you're getting a really good percentage, etc. You can also get gas cards from certain gas stations, like ExxonMobil or Shell or whatever. And these credit cards, whether it's from a gas station or just a really good rate on another card, these rewards will normally cancel out pretty much any increase in price you're getting through paying with a credit card versus with cash. And then you also get the added convenience of just being able to pay with a card, and you get the fraud protection of a credit card. So that's why I say always pay for gas with a credit card, unless you're someone who is willing to make the effort and actually get cash and pay for it. What is this, the 80s, the 70s? Who uses cash? Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Number 2, electronics. Now, electronics you should always pay for with a credit card, and this is for 2 reasons, or namely 2 benefits that exist on credit cards, and that is purchase protection and extended warranty. So if you're gonna buy a new iPhone, for example, obviously you're gonna use a credit card that's gonna earn you some points, okay, ideally. However, you're gonna want purchase protection and extended warranty. Purchase protection will protect you typically for 90 days if you just sort of like drop your brand new iPhone and smash it or whatever, or it gets stolen or something. You generally get a new one if you have purchase protection just for the first 90 days. So it's kind of like an insurance for the first 90 days. And then you've got extended warranty. Now that will normally extend the manufacturer's warranty by a period of 1 year. Some cards actually double the extended warranty. It depends on the card. Yeah, if you use the Amex Gold, for example, I think that's 1 year extended warranty. So if you buy, say, an iPhone, which comes with a 1 year warranty, it then doubles it to 2 years. Now, this is way more important than you might think, because you might think, oh, is it really gonna break just after the warranty or within the first 2 or 3 years? It'll probably break after like 5 years, but then I'll have bought a new one anyway. But no, it does happen, okay? We bought a brand new MacBook Pro. We used a store card, the B&H Paybu card, which has no extended warranty. And guess what? It broke just after the warranty had expired, okay? And so we had to pay $680 to get it fixed. The motherboard was basically shot for some reason. And if we'd used the Amex Gold, for example, we would have got an additional year. We would have been covered. We would have saved $680. Number 3, your phone bill. These days, you should always pay your cell phone bill with a credit card, okay? And that is because many credit cards now offer cell phone insurance based on if you pay your phone bill with the card. Obviously, you need to check which card offers it. Right now, all MasterCard World Elite credit cards are offering cell phone protection. You've got cards like the Amex Platinum. They recently added cell phone protection. Some business cards like the Chase Ink Preferred and the new Chase Ink Premier coming out, they all offer cell phone protection. So yeah, check that your card offers cell phone protection first of all. And then, yeah, if it does, you have to pay your bill with the card in order to actually be protected. But if it does, yeah, get cell phone protection. Now, most of these cell phone protection, they will have a deductible. It could be $25 to $50. Now, benefits will range from about $600 to $1,000 depending on the card. There will often be a deductible, for example, $25 to $50 that you have to pay first. If it's lost, typically you'd have to file a police report. Well, if it's stolen, you need a police report as well. Obviously, if it's smashed, then, you know, you just show them that it's smashed. And different cards will have different policies as well. Some won't cover the screen, some won't cover water damage. If the phone is just mislaid, like lost at home or something, they won't cover it. So you gotta check the policies to see what you're covered for. But yeah, always pay your cell phone bill with a credit card that has cell phone insurance. And you'll be covered. It's just a no-brainer. Number 4, dining purchases. Guys, there are so many credit cards out there that give great rewards for purchases on dining, okay? So you have cards like the American Express Gold card, it's 4 points per dollar on dining. The Capital One Saver card, I think that's 4% cash back on dining. I know some of the Citi cards do a really good rate on dining as well. And so dining is one of those key categories where you can get just really good rates in terms of cashback and points rewards. So you don't want to give that up by paying for it with a debit card. And that's really it with dining. There's just great rewards rates, okay? There's no dining protection where if the food's bad, you've got an insurance that covers the meal. Now, just kidding about that, right? That doesn't exist. But you get really good rewards rates on dining. So I always recommend pay for your dining purchases with a credit card. All right, number 5, grocery. Grocery purchases are another purchase category that you can get really good rewards for. So even the same card we mentioned in the dining section, the Amex Gold, it offers 4 points per dollar on grocery purchases as well. Cards like the Chase Freedom Flex, they typically have a rotating 5% category, and one of those quarters will be grocery, 5%, 5 points per dollar on grocery. The Discover It card also typically offers 1 quarter where it's 5% on grocery spending. So it's a really easy category to get a really great, you know, rewards rate in, okay? So that's really the principal reason for always using a credit card for grocery. And guys, if you're looking for which credit card to use where to get the maximum rewards, I recommend the app called Max Rewards, okay? They've been supporting the channel for a long time. It's a really great app. Basically, they pool information about all your credit cards from multiple issuers in one place, all right? So you can see all of your cards, how much you owe on each. You can see your rewards balances between all the cards, and it will also show you which card to use in which category and at which local merchant to get the maximum rate of rewards. In addition to that, if you have the gold version of Max Rewards, they will activate things like Chase Freedom quarterly categories, Amex offers for you, so you never miss a deal. You might even use an Amex offer, for example, without even realizing it. Get home, you realize you save money. You can get a free month of Max Rewards Gold with my link below. You can also just download the app and check out the free features, which there are many. All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 6, travel. Now, you should always pay for travel with a credit card, okay? And I was taught this very early on in university, where a friend of mine booked a flight to Hong Kong on an airline called Oasis Hong Kong. It's a very old airline. It was a budget airline that used to fly from London to Hong Kong. And before he could take his flight, the airline actually went bankrupt, all right? And obviously his flight was canceled, but his dad had paid for the ticket on a credit card and was able to do a chargeback and got all of the money back, all right? Now, that's obviously an extreme example, but for travel, credit cards do offer unparalleled protection. So obviously, if your airline goes bankrupt, you get your money back. But in addition to that, there are things like baggage insurance, trip delay or cancellation insurance, travel accident insurance, all sorts of insurances on a credit card. Now you do need to check that your credit card provides these, and typically it'll be the higher end ones with annual fees that will provide the most complete set of benefits, you know, Sapphire Preferred, Sapphire Reserve, Amex Platinum. The exception to that is cards like the Citi Prestige, where Citi got rid of a lot of their travel insurance benefits because apparently people weren't using them. Basically, don't book travel with a credit card that doesn't offer any kind of like travel insurance, trip delay, baggage insurance, etc. And certainly don't book it with a debit card. I personally benefited from this insurance when my flight from the south of France to London had to turn back at London because there was too much wind, and flew all the way back to the south of France, and that made me miss my connection in London to fly to New York. And so we had to get a train from the south of France to Paris and then book a new flight from Paris to New York. And I was actually able to claim certain benefits, okay, like a trip delay insurance because my flight was delayed more than 6 hours. I was able to claim compensation for the hotel I had to book, the train I had to book, the flight I had to book, certain parts of it. I didn't get 100% of my money back due to certain terms and conditions, but I got, I think, about $800 in compensation for that. All right, let's move on. Number 7. Rental cars. Now with rental cars, the reason you want to pay with a credit card is simple: collision damage waiver. All right, that means that you can refuse the comprehensive insurance that is offered by the rental car company at the counter, and your credit card will actually provide the collision insurance for that rental car. Now it does depend on the credit card, so obviously check that your credit card does offer collision damage waiver before doing this, okay? Typically it'll be cards with an annual fee that offer it, but there may be a few that don't have an annual fee that do offer it as well. Also, depending on the car you're renting, you might want to check as well the terms and conditions. Typically it covers cars up to $75,000 in value. If you go and rent some exotic car like a Lamborghini or something, don't expect collision damage waiver to cover that, okay? You'll be on your own with that. You do need to definitely get the extra insurance. But if you're renting a regular car, you know, a Ford, a Jeep or something like that, it should cover you, okay? So always use a credit card for a rental car because of collision damage waiver. Number 8, Amazon. Guys, this one is just such a no-brainer, okay? So if you have Amazon Prime, you might as well get the Amazon credit card, okay? Because the Amazon credit card's annual fee is the Amazon Prime membership, all right? So there's basically no annual fee as long as you're a Prime member. And it gets you a 5% discount on everything in Amazon. And because of Amazon Prime, you'll get free shipping as well, right? So you're gonna save a huge amount of money. In this day and age, I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon. It could be like $5,000 a year worth. So getting a 5% discount on every single thing I'm buying on Amazon, that's gonna be $250 a year in cashback savings. So you might as well, all right? It's not costing you anything. So the Amazon Prime credit card, use it at Amazon. Enter it as your payment method, put it in a sock drawer, forget about it, and you'll be saving 5% on the entire website. Number 9, recurring charges. Now, this is gonna be a slightly controversial one. In my previous video, like about 3 years ago with Ask Sebi collab video, I did say, don't put recurring charges on a credit card, okay? And that was more like for beginners, all right? Because beginners, you don't wanna get tripped up by forgetting about it and then suddenly a charge goes to your card and you haven't activated auto pay and you get, you know, a late fee or something like that. But for people who are used to credit cards or who are really keeping track of all their balances and everything with Max Rewards, okay, free month of Max Rewards Gold with my link down below, it's fine to put recurring charges on your card, and it's actually a good thing, and I'll tell you why. Because if you have a load of recurring charges going into your bank account, what if your balance, you know, your bank account balance comes close to zero, right? Down to like a couple of $100s, and then you get like a $150 utility bill, and then you get like a few other things, and it pushes you below zero in your bank account. Well, then you're gonna get hit with an overdraft fee. Now you can set up things where if it goes below zero, it draws money from your savings account to replenish your checking so you don't have an overdraft fee, but not everyone has that facility. So for this reason, I would recommend putting recurring charges on a credit card, all right? So that when that $10 Netflix bill comes that you forgot about, it won't dip your balance below zero, it'll just use up a little bit more of your credit limit. Now obviously you don't want to be maxing out your card, because if your card's maxed out and then you get that recurring charge, it's going to take you over the limit as well. So you got to be careful both ways. But yeah, recurring charges, I would recommend put them on a credit card. It's also a great way of keeping old credit cards that you don't use anymore active. You just put one recurring charge on them each month and set it to auto pay. And then that's that. You can keep old accounts active, which is helpful to maintaining a good credit score. All right, now it's time for our 10th and final thing that you should always use a credit card for, and that is number 10. Merchants you don't trust. If you're going to some sketchy website that your Uncle Bob has recommended to buy some cheap thing imported from China, you know, sometimes you might feel a little bit concerned about whether the website is legitimate, or even if you're going to certain places where you think there could be credit card scammers, like certain gas pumps, like we've talked about, skimming your card numbers, etc. It's always advisable to use a credit card as opposed to a debit card, because credit cards just offer stronger fraud protections. Basically, typically on a credit card, you have zero fraud liability protection. Whereas with a debit card, if you report it after the purchase has been made, your liability will be $50 for 2 days. And then after 2 days, your liability goes up to $500. Obviously, it depends on the banks. Some banks might offer a better deal, but by law, that's what you're protected by. So credit cards give you 100% fraud liability protection. So any website, any sketchy website that's like, you're like, I really want this item, but I just don't trust the seller, feel free to still use the website, but just use a credit card and you're covered. I don't know why, but some old people, like my dad, will be like, oh Ben, I don't want to buy something from that website, I don't trust it. I'm like, you've got a credit card, haven't you? If you got a credit card, literally doesn't matter whether the site is trustworthy or not, because you can't lose your own money. You can only lose the bank's money if they defraud you. So always use a credit card when you're paying any merchant you don't trust, whether it's online or in person. All right, guys, those are 10 things that you should always pay for with a credit card. What do you think of my list? If I've missed anything out, do add it below. I wish you a happy new year. This was kind of a fun video to do at the end of the year. I hope you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you in 2022 with loads of new videos. All right, bye-bye.